All right. Um, Welcome to the December 2021 NeoWit meeting. Uh, Today we have a speaker, Kalpana Sharma. She is a founder and leader of online community, The Unstoppable Hub. Um, this is a community for female entrepreneurs um, where they provide self worth and self confidence boosting resources. She comes from a background in corporate America, uh, but is currently a full time wife, real estate investor, and life and business coach. Um, I am going to turn it over to Kapana to start off by telling us a little bit about herself and about the Unstoppable Hub.
Thank you so much, Alan, and appreciate you guys letting me come over here. And you have already covered most of my introduction, but I'll go ahead and repeat it. I'm a software engineer converted into an entrepreneur. I worked in IT field for 20 plus years, but I wanted to be my own boss. It was that desire in me for some reason. I just wanted to have that freedom. So I worked while working in IT field. I developed my real estate business, and 6 years ago, I was able to be financially free, and I have full time real estate business. That's what I manage and do, and I'm a full time wife of a wonderful husband, and I also had this passion somewhere deep down to help women with their self confidence, and that's because I was born with a tumor on half of my face, and because of that, I had a lot of challenges in life. It was very difficult, to say the least. A lot of and it made me not have that much self confidence, especially when it came to doing interviews or going out on dates or doing business presentations or things like that. So I worked on it a lot, and the result is obviously you see here. I'm able to talk to you over here, and I have built a real estate business. Like I said, I've worked as a software engineer, and I have been able to find love of my life, which everybody at the time when I was growing up, they would look at me and they would make a lot of fun of me, and either they'll feel sorry for me or my parents, and they will always tell my parents especially that you have a child who you will have to take care of for rest of your life, and they always say who will love this person. So who let alone who will love, they will say who will look at this person. It was like, and that was the programming I had for like 20, 30 years of my life. So I'm here to say that I'm very humble that I was able to overcome all that programming which was fed into my brain for all these years. And despite of all these circumstances, I have been able to achieve all this. I've been able to get my treatments as well. I went through a lot of surgeries. I was able to persuade a lot of doctors in America. I actually came here from India as a single girl, not knowing anybody, not having any family, not having any money in my pocket. So that's why I'm so passionate, because now when I look back, I feel like in last 20 years, what I have been able to achieve, if what I have learned, what allowed me to achieve what I have been able to achieve, what I've learned, if there was someone who knew how to apply that in my first 20 years, may have my progress, my achievement would have been much faster, and I may have been able to achieve more. I can go back and change my life, but what I can see is that what I have learned in those years, I can probably contribute to other women out there and help them succeed and help them become unstoppable, like I have been able to do for myself. So thank you so much for allowing me to share this.
My second question is tell me why women need to be confident. How can we build self confidence in women?
That's a great question, and I will bring a quote of my favorite person. I have always admired her Oprah Winfrey. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the name. She said, one quote, she said, "The confidence of body, mind, and soul allows you to have new adventures." So, in my opinion, when women has that confidence, that is what allows us to explore different opportunities. And when we are able to explore new opportunities, we are able to see who we are, what we are made of, how powerful we are, and that allows us to have success in different areas of our life. So if we don't have, in other words, if we don't have that confidence, which is what we face a lot of times, then we stop ourselves. We don't have that belief, that feeling in ourselves that we are capable of doing something. We deserve that life out there. So for women, and I believe for everyone, we need that. But since I'm a woman, I will go for women, that we really, really need that. And sometimes in our upbringing, a lot of times that is not there for whatever reason. Is it like cultural thing, or our society, how it is made? Sometimes we do not give woman, a girl, that importance, that value which she deserves, in especially in her early ages, because that is where I believe the foundation of anybody. Like even when you're building a house, you have to have the strong foundation for it to stay. So for women, it is so important to have that foundation built, so we can be we already are powerful source, but that source becomes more powerful when we know our own value. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Um, do you have any more sort of tips or helpful information on how we adult women can, as the teachers of younger women, can help foster or instill help them learn confidence, especially for some of us who maybe have had our own issues with confidence over the years. How can we help instill that in the next generation?
That's a very good question. It seems like you're asking me how to raise my own daughter if I had one. Right? Um, when I look back, what I can only give you example from what I have gone through and what I have learned. When I look back, it's like what I realize is that if instead of people looking at what the physical aspect of someone is, if they understood how important or how powerful our brain is, and all of us have the same size of brain. It may be a little different here and there, but it is very, very powerful. And if we know that how to activate that power of that brain, you know then we can make that person powerful, whether it's our daughter, whether whoever other woman is. And a lot of times what happens is that we always emphasize on the negative aspects of life. We always tell what they cannot do. We don't emphasize enough is what they can do. We don't emphasize enough that how lovable they are. The love is not dependent on what how I look physically, or how I what I do something. Love should be unconditional. Just because I am a human being, I'm lovable. I'm a universe best creation, right? So just that in itself makes me a lovable person, right? So all the other things can be taught. If I'm not good at maths, I can learn to become good at maths. If I'm not good at cooking, I can learn to get better at cooking. If I'm not good at science, I can learn to get better at science. but that should not define whether I'm lovable or not. So if as adult women we can understand that part, that our daughter needs, our daughter or any other younger woman in our life who we want to inspire, we want to have a better outcome, we want to instill in her that um, positive image about herself, that it's not about her, how she looks, it's not about her hair, it's not about her nose, it's not about that, those are not the things which make her powerful. She has something so much powerful. And even if those things, I read somewhere that what we have is like, it's worth so, it's so precious. Like, you wouldn't want to give your part of your hand away for even $1 billion, right? So everything, every part of our body, it is a body and mind, it is, if you start counting its value, it's so precious just for having it, right? So imagine how valuable we are. And that is the confidence, that is the value we need to instill in our younger ones, that they are enough, they are more than enough with what they have, and they don't have to compare themselves with anybody else. They are themselves, how they are important, they are valuable. And that is really, really important in my opinion. Thank you.
And also, I think the important thing is any for the teachers or parents, like initially, like I was reading something and it mentioned that girls always have the inhibition of not raising their hand, although they know the answer to the question.
Yes.
So they are always kind of like afraid to step up or answer the question or come forward. So how do you like tell them that they can do that? Like how do you build the confidence?
So that's a great question, and I was listening to one of another favorite woman I have is Priyanka Chopra. Is one of the Bollywood stars, and I was just watching her interviews. I love to watch these interviews to inspire myself, to learn from them how they became confident in their life. And one thing she said about which made so much uh, impact, that in her home her parents never had her believe that she cannot do anything, you know so she could do as much as her brother could do. So that belief, it is so important. And for us, when I had the same challenge when I was in my school or college and work, every I had hard time speaking up. In fact, I was very, very shy person, believe it or not. Right now, I was really shy person because all my time I was growing up, like, people told me that nobody wants to see me, nobody wants to be friends with me. So that programming was so bad that I, even though I had the desire to speak, but I thought that people don't like me. So that belief would stop me from speaking up. And I remember there was a time when I used to see this girl. I always talk about her because I remember distinctly she used to go up at the stage and talk at the mic, and I used to get so inspired, and something inside of me would want to cry and say, I want to be like that, you know. And but something was so holding me back all those years. And it wasn't until I started learning about myself and figuring out this is what I want, how do I overcome it. And I really had to work on my self-worth. I had to read a lot of books of people who they have started with very humble backgrounds, but they have been able to overcome their all the shortcomings, and that gave me hope that if they could do it, I could do it too. So that will be my first step, is that you learn about other people who have been successful and understand that if they can do it, because we need that inspiration, we need that belief. And the reason we are not speaking up is because we don't believe that what we have is important, that we what our goals and dreams are, they can come true too, you know, or what I have to say is important enough for somebody else. So how would you develop that belief is by number one is surrounding yourself with people who have that belief. And sometimes we may not have the chance to physically surround ourselves, so listening to those stories or reading those stories really helps. Second is action. You can read, I mean, enough. I mean, you can read as much as you want, but until you do action, until you put yourself out there and risk failure, you will not be able to achieve that. So if you really want to speak up, figure out why do you want to speak up? What is the reason? Why do you want to do that? Figure out that desire in your heart. Why do you want to do that? Everything starts with a why. If you don't have a reason, you just passing your life, you don't even know what is your potential, why you're valuable. So once figure out your why is that important for you to speak up? What is that important message you have inside of you which you want to share with the world, right? And once you have figured it out, then work on yourself. Read those books, listen to those stories, and on a daily basis, take that step of failure. Shake hands with somebody you don't know. I mean, right now it's may still a COVID session, may not be shaking hand, but say hello. Look at other person's eye and say hello. Start with there. You know, I did that. That was my thing. I used to have this. You won't believe it, like this, all this on my face because I used to. I wanted to hide from people. And I used to think that by having hair on my face, I'm hiding from people, you know. So, but that's where I had to start. I used to shake like crazy, like thinking of looking into somebody's eye and be able to say hello. You know, today it seems like I may be very extrovert. I'm talking to you guys. It may feel like that. Wow, she's so confident, but that's not how it started. You know, I may have been born with that confidence, but somewhere I had lost it. And then I had to regain that. And the way to regain is that you work on yourself constantly every single day. You risk your failure. You risk that. You don't think about what people are going to think because people are more worried about themselves. They have enough problems of their own. People are not thinking too much about you. And a lot of times we waste our energy, our potential in thinking about what other person is going to think. In fact, when you speak up, I want to give this one tip to anybody who's listening. When you speak up, people will admire you. Even if you mess up, even if you mess up, people will admire you that you had the guts which you didn't. So if you keep that tip in your mind, maybe that will help you to speak up next time. That just figure out what is that, why do you want to do that, and then just risk it. Just do it. Just do it. You're going to have butterflies. Like, even while coming on this camera, I had butterflies. Those are there, you know, that those challenges are there. We just have to do it. That's the like my biggest tip, that once you will and once you will do it once, next time you will feel better, and next time you will feel better. I remember on my in my, I think it was 8th grade or 9th grade, when I told my teacher that I'm going to speak from this stage. And I prepared and prepared and prepared, and the moment I went on the stage, I got completely nervous and forgot my first line and made complete fool of myself. And I'm sure my whole school was laughing and everything, and I was crying. But that was the start. I had to start somewhere. You know, so same way you have to start somewhere and just not worry about the failures.
Thank you, Kalpana. I have another question.
Sure.
They say love yourself. How much this means to boost confidence?
That's a great question. And what happens is, like in my case, like I said, when you have a challenge or when you have a setback, the first thing you do is you don't stop loving yourself. You know, and I'll help you understand how it helps loving yourself. For example, let's say who you love in your life. Maybe your spouse, maybe your kid, your parent, right? What does that mean to you? When you say you love someone and when you know you love someone, what what is that you are willing to do for them, or what is that which you're not willing to do for them? Your answer will be, I'm willing to do everything for them, right? You are willing to do everything for that person to see them successful, to see them happy, to see them not have these struggles, which you probably had in your life or something, right? So when you love yourself, that's what it means, that you are willing to do whatever it takes to make yourself successful. You are not going to back off when some struggle came in on your way to your destination, because you love yourself. You're not going to leave your parents or your spouse or your kid in the middle, right? Because you love them, right? So same way, when you love yourself and you have decided that you want to reach here, you're not going to leave yourself alone somewhere in the middle, right? You're going to help yourself. So when you love yourself, it increases that perseverance, the power of perseverance in yourself, that you are able to persevere yourself through those moments, because no success in any area of your life, you can see, is a straight line. It is lots of ups, lots of downs, lots of valleys, lots of mountains, right? So what happens when you're in those valleys? If you love yourself, you're going to have the perseverance to come up. If you don't, you will stop.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, I was struck by what you were saying about when you were doing the the show and you remember your lines, and how sometimes part of building confidence is learning that when you fail, it's not the end of the world. Um,
Mm.
I know sometimes you get struck. Oh, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be awful. I'm not going to be able to withstand it. But failing lets you learn that you can withstand it and move on. And then the next time you do better.
Right.
So that really struck me in part of what you said.
Thank
Um,
you.
uh, so next question. Sort of how does mentorship play into this? Um, can you actually look for confidence mentors or pick them out somehow? Or yeah, can that really help you with your confidence?
Sure. I'm sure. I've had mentors in all different areas of my life. Um, so I can definitely say how mentors can be useful. And first of all, it is important to know who is a mentor. How do you pick one? So, in my opinion, what I have experienced is mentor is someone who has already been there where you want to be, you know, and who has some vested interest in you. They why they want to help you? Why would they want to help you? Right? There has to be something in them which is more than just money to help you. You know, there has to be some deep desire that why somebody wants to help you. In my case, and I'm sure in a lot of your cases also, initially when we come into this world, our parents are our best mentors. So for me, my mom was my amazing mentor. She always was on my side, and There was times when I was alone at school because kids would not talk to me and all. And she said, "Don't worry about them. I am there with you." You know, and she helped me in a lot of anything which I wanted to do. She was there with me, and same my dad. So, and for last few years when I started my real estate business, I uh, actually I have adopted mom. She had already done real estate business. She's still in real estate business. And what I've realized is that when you take help from a mentor, what it does, it helps you uh, save time and resources to reach to the destination. For example, in my case, so it took me so many trials and errors to figure myself out, to go through all the failures and figure this thing out, that how can someone have confidence, you know. So if I were to help someone, I have I already have actually. I forgot to mention that I came up with this blueprint. It's called Unstoppable Confidence Blueprint. It is basically the concise or the concentrate method, you can call it. It's a concentrate method somebody can take and apply and have that confidence which they're looking, the success they're looking much faster than what I had. In fact, I am using that same to have my success in different areas which I still want to continue to have it, right? So that is what I'm using because I figured it out that this is what it took to reach there, you know. I analyzed it, I looked at it, I learned from it, like, okay, this is what mistakes I did, this is what I did, and this is what it helped. So now I have that formula. Same way any mentor for any other field also, that's what they have done. They have done a lot of mistakes. They have done a lot of mistakes to get to where they are today. So they will give you a shortcut. And like we have been discussing so far, that uh, self confidence is a mental thing, but it affects so much of our physical reality. So if you want to change your physical reality, you have to figure out how to change that mental thing faster. You know, I hope that answers your question.
My next question is, usually stressful situation will always hinder confidence, right? So can
Mhm.
you tell like five mindset hacks to deal with stressful situation?
Great. It's funny you asked that because I've had very stressful like last few months. I lost few family members, and you can imagine like when you lose someone, it just puts you into like life's. You start looking for life's purpose. You feel like life is unstable, and you have to just rely on the resources. You have to figure out what's next. How do you regain that lost confidence you had in life in general, you know. And so what I figured it out, or what I am doing right now exactly, excuse me, specifically, um, I had to think, I mean, research a lot, because it's my personal situation, but I'm going through this test, so I have to figure out how do I get out of it. So one thing which I learned, this is I was watching Amazon's founder and CEO Jeff Bezos. He said that a lot of times stress happens because we are not working on what we have control over. We know what is there to work on, but we just procrastinating it. So that is one thing which causes us to have stress. So what I do, I have not been able to do it so consistently, but I do that. That I find before going to bed, I write down what are the important things I have to do next day, and then see. I have, because we have a business, so we have to. My way to know what is most important. One of the ways is that which one will have the highest financial impact. So I have to So what I do is top three activities based on the financial impact for my business. I have to do that. So I have to attack those first, because they are the ones. Sometimes I have to maybe call a tenant, or um, uh, what is that? Yeah, mostly tenants. These days I'm handling tenant situations. So because we had eviction moratorium and all that stuff, so those you procrastinate because they sound difficult, so you keep doing things which are easier. So one of the things which I have made my focus is to do things which are hardest in your to-do list first. So that is one thing which helps me a lot. And second thing I have started to rely on is meditation. Growing up, my parents, we are very spiritual. We come from a spiritual background, and we always knew the importance of, it's called in Hindi, the word is called dhyan, and English word is meditation. And but you get busy in your life and you feel like do that is more important, and you forget to take a break. And what happens that is like you generate so many stresses in your life, and it makes you not have good sleep. Have you guys, can you relate to what I'm saying? Right? Yeah, there you go. So I have started to understand the importance of meditation. So I listen to something before going to bed, something which is calming, and try to focus on what is present. Because what is happening is, in our life, why we have so many stresses is, one thing is that we are focusing on things which we cannot control. Second thing is that we are, again, is related to the first one, but basically either we are thinking about so much about the past or so much about the future. We are not enjoying the present. So meditation helps you focus on the present. And also what I do is, I lot of times we have stress because when we are thinking about future or we are thinking about past, we are thinking all the negative stuff. What will happen to me 10 years down the line? What will happen if I'm left alone? All the negative stuff. So with meditation, I try to think of what is my vision? What is the kind of life I would like to have, rather than what negative life I'm thinking. This mind is just making me think. So that really helps, having the meditation. And the third thing which I realized helps is like, sometimes you get so caught up in just trying to resolve a problem, and you keep working on it. It seems like you're fighting with it, and it's not going anywhere. I'm a firm believer of action. I'm a firm believer of doing work, but at the same time, what sometimes help is taking a break and going and doing something what you really love. Like for me, is like going out for walk. I love nature. So just taking that break and going out for walk, or making my favorite dish, you know that. And what scientifically, what actually happens, what I've understood is like, when we are trying to do something which is so negative, it's not going anywhere, we are attracting negative vibes to ourselves. So in other words, what happens is that whatever we focus on grows. So if we are focusing on all the negative stuff, we are in our life, that is what is growing. So you have to take a break, distract yourself from all that stuff, and go to something which gives you happiness, gives you joy. So it could be for you taking a break and spend some time with your loved ones. It could be your parents, your kids, whoever, just not think about anything else and just be in the present and enjoy that moment with them. Or whatever else you like, painting, whatever that gives you joy, just take that break and do that for a few minutes. That really helps combating that stressful situation you are dealing with. uh Fourth one, I have to think. I get back to that later because I was so involved in just sharing. I have to think about fourth one right now. I think three tips are enough for now. I hope those tips
Thank
help.
you. Yeah.
We'll go ahead and go on to the next question. Um, Financial awareness. How does that affect your confidence? Um,
I'm glad you asked because when I was writing my blueprint for Unstoppable Confidence, I wrote one of the steps is for a woman to have a skill which helps them make money. And the reason I did that because I remember when whole world was saying to me or my parents that this girl is not worth it, or she'll be dependent on you, or you'll have to take care of her rest of your life. Or in our culture, we have arranged marriages, so people were asking my parents to marry me off to just anybody, you know, and that used to hurt my confidence a lot. But I remember when I got my first good jobs as a software engineer and I started making more than my dad, it gave me a whole new confidence because I believe the reason is that money, when we make money, is actually, how do you make money? Is because money is a exchange of the value you are giving to the world, right? So I'm exchanging something for money. So I'm valuable to somebody, and my skill is valuable to somebody. That's why they're willing to give me money, correct? So that means that I have some value. So when I know that I have some value, what it does to my self confidence, it makes me feel valuable, right? So that is why in my blueprint, I have written that you gotta have a hard skill to make money. And in my community, that is my plan. Women who do not have, for whatever reason, at present that hard skill, I want to teach them how they convert their expertise into a profitable online business. I spent last couple of years learning about it, so I want to teach that, and I want to bring some experts also from outside to teach them different hard skills which can help them make money. Hope that answered your question.
um, is that also part of what your site does? Is help people learn how their skills apply to other things?
What do you mean help people learn their skills apply to other things?
Well, I've learned this specific thing,
Uh-huh.
uh, doing something, but they don't necessarily believe it applies outside of specifically what they learned it for. Do you do anything to help them? Basically,
It applies to something outside. What do you mean? Like it is important for the world, or maybe like for example, if they know how to do crochet, how
so
they can use it to make money? Is that what you're saying?
I know
Or
who had a very long job and then lost it during all the COVID shutdowns.
mm-hmm,
Um, I know I was trying to help convince that person uh, that a lot of what they learned doing that job
mm-hmm,
actually did apply to other industries,
exactly.
and that yes, you would have to learn something about a different industry, but a lot of the base skills um, were the same,
Right.
and it's not you're not really starting from scratch. So I wasn't sure if any of that fit in to what you were talking
So
about or not.
yeah, sort of. So what, Ellen, I have learned is that. Uh, When Uber and Airbnbs were started, they started what is called gig economy. So people who had an asset or had something like car or house, they could use that as an asset to make money. So as we understand it, something which makes us money is an asset. Something which takes money is a liability. So our car is actually a liability because it takes money, but companies like Uber allowed it to be considered as an asset because now you could use it to make money, right? So now what we are in currently is a knowledge economy. In knowledge economy, what is happening is that people are realizing, and especially with the COVID and all that stuff more, that people want to learn from people like your friend you were talking about, that who, who have actual experience of working and honing a particular skill. Because what I understand, what I think is, I was looking at my dad's experience. I was thinking like anybody actually, and I was just thinking about him that he is a civil engineer. He has worked on national highways, and he has worked. He's amazing, amazing at what he had done. So when we have honed a particular skill, particular profession, it is not just about that particular skill. It is about the wisdom which we acquired practicing that skill, right? And that wisdom is so important for our next generations, you can call it, or people who want to learn that skill, right? And that wisdom is applicable, like you said, in a lot of different industries as well. So we are in that the knowledge economy, and that is what I want my women to be aware of, that they have, it doesn't matter what industry or what field they have been in, they have acquired that wisdom which could be so useful to someone else. And we have a way to cultivate that and convert that into a form which can be used by someone else. I haven't started that because I've been so busy with my own like business and life, but that is my vision to get it to that place. But people are anybody who's watching this, they are welcome. We can probably put a link there if you guys allow, for the community, where it's a free community, they can come and join it. So as when I put more trainings, they'll be able to access those.
Thank you, Kalpana.
Sure.
My next question is like, how much important is self-esteem?
So self-esteem, as I've understood it, is basically um, acceptance of yourself. So it is so much interrelated with your self confidence. You know, when you accept yourself the way you are, basically, it's almost self love, self esteem, self worth, self confidence. They are so interrelated to each other, because it's all related to self. you know Everything about self, like how we can make ourselves better. What is that which is stopping us from achieving our goals? What is that we don't have? What is that we can have more of? So all those are related. So once you accept yourself with all your flaws, right? And I now wonder, like, why we have this thing that this person is beautiful, this is not beautiful. This it's like, what is that? We are just, everybody is just different. Everybody is equal in their own respect. And if you look at it, it's like a perception, because you could go to a different country and where, and I'm just giving an example because I come from a country where we have a little bit darker skin. Most of us have it. So some people give more preference to a whiter skin. And I remember in this country when I came, people used to say, "Oh wow, you have such a beautiful skin," and they used to say like, we have to go 10 to do that. And I'm like, I got it natural. you know so it is about, we forget it that what we have, it could be so much important to someone else, but we don't love it, we take it for granted. So so self-esteem is that about self-acceptance. Accept, once you'll accept yourself, you'll accept your flaws, then you'll think that I'm enough, I'm full, and then you'll be able to conquer the world basically. Once you are done here, then fight is not, most of the time the fight is within ourselves. Fight is not outside, fight is within ourselves. So once we have won that fight, then outside fight is very easy. It's like, generally I've heard this thing, a husband, it's a couple's book I was reading somewhere, and it was like, uh, husband, it was about a husband and wife relationship, and he was like, if I can have a peaceful home when I come home, or when I am home, if I have a peaceful home, then I can fight with the rest of the world. So it is the same thing with us. When we have peaceful inside, we have that confidence, that calmness inside, then it becomes easier for us to fight with the rest of the world.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you. I hope I'm helping someone.
Yes.
Um, do you encourage women to have a healthy competition with other women?
Sure. In fact, that is so important, I believe, because let's understand what is competition, what it does. Competition basically, it is supposed to bring out the best in each other. When look in the market, when you have competition, you are able to find a lot of newer products. You are able to have innovation. You are able, because once, look at the industries where we don't have competition, we call it monopoly, and there's only one person or one company selling this stuff, and you don't have choices, and the innovation doesn't happen that much. But when you have competition, you have chances of better and better products, better and better innovation and adventures and those kind of things. So, but what happens if it's unhealthy? Then you are basically attacking each other and not understanding the importance, the big purpose of competition. But if it is healthier, what happens is that it brings out the best in each other. It allows us to open up for new opportunities. If I'm working just by myself, I have a limited vision, or I have a limited um, horizon where I'm looking at, right? But if I'm with you guys, you have some ideas, Deepa has some idea, Ellen has some ideas, and I'm like, oh wow, I never thought about that. So in an instant, my horizon got bigger just by being with you. By And when you are happier for someone else, and they're happier for you, then all of us grow. Right? They say, rising tide raises all ships. So it's not just you grow or that person grow, we all grow. And it is so amazing when we can do that. We all imagine what this world will be like. We women are so wonderful. We we are so kind, we are so helpful, we are so funny, we are so, we wear so many hats, we are amazing at multitasking, we are great project managers, right? So imagine what that world would be like if we all can have that healthy competition, and we all grow together. And I mean, I'm just like having goosebumps thinking about it.
So my next question is like, how to combat failures?
That's a very difficult, I mean, difficult if you make it. It could be easy. Again, it's a mindset thing. So, like I was sharing in one of the things I shared before, that you have to risk failure, and but it is one of the hardest thing to do, because once you fail, if we don't have the right mindset about it, then we stop taking initiative, we stop our success basically. And one somewhere I heard this phrase and it made so much sense to me. They said, don't take success to your head, and don't let failure go to your heart. And that was such a beautiful thing to remember, uh, because I remember in all different areas of my life, whether it was business or whether it was job interviews or whether it was dating, every time I failed, I went into my cocoon for some time till I could muster up the courage to come back out again, you know. But if I had known this statement and internalized this statement before, then it would have been so much easier to come back out. Because failure is like a kid, it's just a perception thing. When a small kid, an infant, when she gets up and she falls, she gets up and she falls, we don't say that you're failing. We laugh, we cherish, we have fun, and that is an encouragement to that kid to keep trying again, right? And that's how they start learning, and they start walking. But somehow, I don't know what happens, that we, as we become adults, we forget that phase. We start to take everything so seriously, that every failure is just the end of the world. Whereas it's not. It's actually, you're failing to get up again. It's a process for me to start walking. I'm right now crawling. It doesn't matter what area of life I'm in. Maybe I'm starting a new business. Maybe I'm starting a new job. I'm crawling right now. I'm in that phase where I can get up and start walking. So it's okay for me to fail. It's okay for me to fall down and get hurt a little. But we take it so seriously, and I am guilty of that. I have done it hundreds of times. But this is the message which I heard somewhere. It made so much sense. So I tell everybody that this is how we should handle failure. Don't take it seriously, and it's not the end of the world. And last year, when I had so several people who passed away, it just made the different perception to life. It's like w- we are comparing our worst with somebody's best. That's why we are thinking we are failed, right? And life has to end at the end of the day for all of us. So why are we wasting time in all that? Just be happy, try whatever our heart desires, and just think it's like I'm crawling right now, and it's okay if I fall. I'll get up again, and I'll start to walk after that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Do you have any final message you'd like to give the viewers?
Yes. So, lesson what I have learned is, and what I try to implement in my life is like, uh, our brain is very powerful. So, if we consider our brain as a computer, what has happened is that it has, just like, our computer, you are all from the tech field, so I understand that a computer has an operating system, the basic software which makes certain basic programs or basic functions of the computer work, right? That operating system was formed when we were little, when we didn't have control over how we do certain things. People around us or the environment around us designed and programmed that operating system. Then we started to function using that operating system, and uh, started creating programs of our own in and we started to function with those programs. Now you may have that awareness that some of those programs may be faulty. Somewhere around our life we may have gotten a virus in our computer, which is slowing our system down. It's slowing our performance down. Sometimes we get stuck and we feel like we are not able to move anything. Have you seen, like, our just few minutes ago our program was freezing. We were not able to communicate, right? So that's what happens. But the good news is that what I've figured it out is that we can change all of that. We can change our operating system, we can change our programming, and we can completely rewire our brain and make our computer powerful again. So that is a huge, huge thing which I learned. And that's my final message, that you have that power to change that computer program, and you can do it. And I'm telling myself to.
Thank you, Kalpana, for enlightening us about self confidence. I hope women watching this would add self confidence to their New Year's resolution list and try to follow boosting self confidence. And Katy Perry says, like, if you are presenting yourself with confidence, you can pull off pretty much anything.
Exactly.
So, with that note, I would like to thank you. You have given so much important information today regarding self confidence, and I hope people would be benefited. And I'll also add your the Unstoppable Hub information everywhere so people can reach you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye
Have
bye.
a good night. Bye
Happy
bye.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye bye.
Bye
Love you
bye.
all.